Woo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single morning. I had a lovely weekend. It was actually kind of warm outside. It's really warm this morning. 50 something degrees. The weather can't make up its mind. I've got a question for you. Holiday travel time. That's just around the corner. What's your go-to airplane drink? What's your go-to drink order on a flight, if you're drinking on the plane, or maybe if you go to the bar before you get on the plane? If you're like me, I can't get on the plane without a drink. So what's something that you order only on planes, or that you order before you get onto the plane? 309-451-9299. Text me or throw it in the comments section. I'm live on YouTube and on Rumble. You can subscribe to the channel. Just type it in your search bar, Conservative Cat Show. I watched an amazing movie over the weekend. I love Jason Bateman. I'm not much of a actresses person. I don't really get into movies that much. But there is one actor that is my favorite. I would say if I had to pick a favorite actor, it would be Jason Bateman. And he in this new Carry On movie. It's on Netflix. I sat down and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch a Christmas movie. Turns out it's kind of like, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, right? People say that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's kind of like that. I guess it kind of is a Christmas movie, but it's similar to Die Hard. If you've ever seen Die Hard, it was really good. I haven't watched a ton of movies lately, but it's a great movie. One of the best I've seen in a very long time. And Jason D. Bateman, he always does really well in everything he does. So he's the villain in it. I'm not going to give it away because I think it's like number one on Netflix right now. But yeah, if you're looking for something to watch, holiday movie, get some hot cocoa and watch an action-packed Christmas movie. That's Carry On Netflix. All right. I do want to get in today's news. We've got so much to get to, so I'm just going to jump right in. The View says they aren't biased. They're not one-sided, but you're an idiot, folks, for voting and supporting Donald Trump. You are an idiot because you voted for Donald Trump. That's what The View says, but they say that they're not biased. Next, I do want to talk about Tom Homan this hour because he's promising to prosecute mayors like probably Brandon Johnson of Chicago, San Diego mayor, Los Angeles mayor. They are all harboring illegals, and they're hiding them from ICE. And that's a felony. Now, Illinois is kind of getting crafty with this. Like I said, I reported on this bill that they're going to try to probably get passed in the spring legislative session, maybe even lame duck, where this bill makes it easier for illegals to change their name to hide from President Donald Trump and his mass deportation policies, okay? So Illinois is getting crafty with harboring illegals. They're doing it via legislation. It makes it easier to change your name as an illegal immigrant, whereas there used to be a lot of parameters. You had to live in the country for 6 months. You had to live in the state for 6 months in order to change your name legally. All those parameters have been weakened, and it's easy to change your name if this bill gets through. It's already gotten through the House, so they're going to probably push it through the Senate in lame duck session or in the spring legislative session. I would imagine lame duck because they want to get it they want to get it done before Trump comes in with those mass deportation policies. All right, I do also want to talk about Scott Jennings. He drops this truth bomb, folks, about Caitlyn Clark. Now, I do not watch the WNBA. I don't know anybody who does. But Caitlyn Clark, apparently is a white basketball player, and she's really good. She's gone woke, okay? And I like what Scott Jennings says here. It doesn't matter how woke you go, it'll never be enough. They will constantly move that goalpost. You can never be woke enough for these people. Even if you get your child a double mastectomy or you trans your kid, I mean, they're always going to want more from you, the woke mob. They're always going to say that you're not woke enough. So we're going to get to all of that. But first, I do want to start with the ladies on The View. Yuck. Joy Behar. She said people only voted for Donald Trump because they're misinformed. I don't know about that. And she says that, you're just dumb and you're an idiot and you're misinformed for voting for Donald Trump and supporting Donald Trump. And she is not taking into account that we lived through one of the worst inflationary this was an inflation crisis, okay? And we voted in our best interest. You voted in your best interest. She says that you shouldn't have done that, and you should have listened to her statistics. And I'm going to tell you why her statistics are all wrong. Take a listen to Joy Behar and her fake statistic.
I don't know what people were thinking when they voted for him. I mean, this one statistic really.
I'll tell you what I was thinking when I voted for him. I thought to myself, I'm really sick and tired of the gas prices. I'm sick and tired of this inflation, and I'm voting in my best interest.
Really got to me. He lost during his term 200,000 manufacturing jobs. He lost them.
Yeah.
Joe Biden added more than 775,000 jobs. And people voted for Trump. I think that they have been misinformed, misled by other networks. You know, people get mad at us. They say we're one-sided here. The statistics are
But I
here.
do think it was cost of living, because I think a lot of voters think of the Trump years.
There were more jobs created.
They think of the Trump years before COVID. So, like, if you're judging it by
the Obama?
No, they're thinking of the Trump years before the coronavirus came and
the Obama
unemployment
economy
spiked and the economy went to free fall. And it was a time that people had more money, whether you attribute that to him or whatever you do.
Obama.
But that's what people were voting on.
False information.
I think they were also voting on immigration, and one of the things he says is that he's going to return all these people to the countries they came from, and he's going to make the countries take them, or he's not going to do business with those countries. Well, the countries are Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. We've got sanctions on them already. We're not doing business with them already.
Right. Yeah.
Hard to get those dictators to go along.
in line.
Right. That's one of the problems. There's no deportation agreement.
All right, we got to go. We'll be right back.
All right. These ladies are incredibly stupid. I'm sorry I had to play that for you this morning. But my goodness. Firstly, one of the most irritating things that the left does is that they attribute everything that Trump did to Barack Obama. Everything good that Donald Trump has done, they attribute it to Barack Obama, which literally makes no sense. Okay. Use your common sense. That makes no sense. It's a disingenuous lie. Rebuke that lie. Secondly, Biden certainly did not create more jobs than Donald Trump. Wrong. That's false. All of the jobs lost under Donald Trump, that was because of the pandemic, and any jobs gained under Joe Biden, it's the bounce back jobs, people being hired back after COVID-19. So that's not gaining any jobs, and really that's not losing any jobs for Donald Trump. You could make an argument that Donald Trump lost jobs because of the pandemic. Sure, but you definitely can't make the argument that Joe Biden gained any jobs. Those were just bounce back COVID jobs. The left does not create economic prosperity. We know that, which is why the White House constantly lies about the job numbers. We know that they've lied about the job numbers every single time the job numbers come out. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. The only jobs gained, if you want to make this argument, by Joe Biden, right, in the healthcare sector and the public sector. So the healthcare sector is pretty much the public sector. But this means administration has emboldened the bureaucracy. That's what this administration has done. They've emboldened the bureaucracy, the threats to democracy, right? Because they emboldened the bureaucracy, people you didn't vote for, and they lined their pockets with cash at the expense of real economic gain. We don't have any real economic gain. It's people in the public sector. That's the only jobs that have grown. And in the healthcare sector, but tomato. According to the Heritage Foundation, take a listen to this. Here's the numbers. About 1 in 4 jobs that were supposedly added last year never existed. Okay, 1 in 4, that they are lying to you. That's like eliminating all of the jobs gained in the 3 whole months of 2023, in the first 3 whole months of 2023. Okay, eliminating all of those jobs that they had reported in 2023. For the first 3 whole months. They're lying to you. The jobs reports are lies. 1 in 4 jobs that were supposedly added last year never existed. So they print fake jobs, and I don't know why they would do that, except the only reason why I would think that they do that is because they want to deceive the public, and they aren't intending to ever be transparent, this administration, and they've never wanted to be transparent with the public because they constantly print fake jobs, okay? And they lie about where the growth is. The growth is in the public sector and foreign-born workers. They're the ones who get all of the job growth, if there is any, really. A lot of it is bounce-back jobs from COVID. So you cannot lie your way to the ballot box when Americans are struggling to make ends meet. And that's why people voted for Donald Trump, is because we saw the lies. We kept seeing the lies. That's a big, big problem because the American people are not stupid. Additionally, in 2023, the government had the second fastest job growth of any sector, only behind, like I said, healthcare, which is an industry heavily dependent on the government. We've talked about that before, government spending. They subsidize it in 2016. I think it was like $170 billion bailout for the healthcare industry, somewhere around there. So, I mean, when they say, oh, the jobs are growing. Yeah, in the government sector. That's not real economic prosperity. That's not real economic growth. You're just giving your buddies jobs, okay? You're making the bureaucracy bigger than ever. Government bigger than ever. And they've shrunk the economy, and then they lied about it because they lied on every single one of their jobs reports. Like I said, 1 in 4 jobs that were supposedly added last year never existed. Okay, they never existed. They were just faked. And I don't know, if you fake these reports, that leads me to believe that you are intentionally trying to deceive the public, and you're trying to put lipstick on a pig. Really, that's what this is about. So your fake statistics aren't going to change my mind about supporting Donald Trump. And it's these ladies on The View are really, really stupid. All right, I got to take a quick break. But we're going to talk about Tom Homan. Tom Homan vows that he's going to be prosecuting these mayors who intentionally harbor illegal aliens using things like, we're going to talk about super sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, because that's probably going to gain a lot of traction here in the coming weeks, where you're going to have Chicago, Brandon Mayer, or if he hasn't done it already, Brandon Johnson, coming out and claiming super sanctuary status. Okay, so sanctuary status is, hey, we're not going to deport you if you come to our city or our county or whatever the case may be, our state. That's sanctuary status. What's super sanctuary status? Well, that's going after people who support or help ICE carry out deportations. And if you are a government official who, I don't know, cooperates with the federal government to enforce federal immigration laws, then you are going to be reprimanded, or you're going to be punished for doing that as a government official or a police officer, right? If you're a local police officer and you're working with ICE, you will be punished by these woke city mayors. So we're going to get to it because Tom Homan says, look, if you're harboring illegals, if you're a mayor, then that's a felony, and I'm going to prosecute you. So this shouldn't be a controversial take, folks. It should not be a controversial take to want to enforce federal immigration law. If you don't like it, change it. If you don't like the federal immigration law, then you need to change it. So while it's a crime for American citizens to harbor illegals, it's the same for mayors. It's the same for governors. Governor J.B. Pritzker, right? It's the same for government officials. If you and I can't harbor illegal aliens in our houses and try to keep them from ICE and have them avoid deportation, that's illegal for you and I to do that, to harbor illegal aliens who are supposed to be deported. It's illegal for mayors and cities to do it as well. And it's appalling that the left gets away with this. The fact that they aren't, they're skirting federal law, and that they're getting away with breaking federal immigration law. I'm going to be right back. You're listening to Conservative Count on Cities 92.9, the news and talk, Bloomington Normal. Hey, good morning. So do appreciate you. Go ahead, smash that like button. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Tom Homan. What do you think? Super sanctuary states, super sanctuary cities, San Diego, the city of Los Angeles, they've already come out and said that they are super sanctuary counties, super sanctuary cities. So there's a difference between, I guess, sanctuary status and super sanctuary, because super sanctuary, it goes a step further, where if you aid ICE or federal immigration enforcement in any kind of way, then you are going to be reprimanded or you're going to be in trouble as a government official or as a police officer. So, like I said, this should not be a controversial take to want to enforce federal immigration law. Now, let me take a look at Illinois and this name change bill. I want to read the correct bill number. Okay, here we go. This is legislation to make it easier to change a person's name. Okay, so the bill moving through the Illinois General Assembly, and this is from the Center Square, okay, it makes it easier to change a person's name. This is being criticized as a loophole for illegal immigrants, okay? The measure would allow, well, it would alter and it would amend current Illinois law, and it would not require a person to notify the newspaper following the name change. There's all kinds of parameters and limitations when it comes to the name changing rule as it stands right now and as the law stands right now. But they want to make changes to it. So we've got State Senator Sue Resin. She said there's flaw in the legislation in it that could help the criminal element fall through the cracks. So she says during a recent Senate Executive Committee hearing, she said this, quote, there's a loophole built into the bill that maybe started off as good, but okay. You know, one thing that you need to know about some of these rhinos. Now, Sue Resin, total rhino. Well, you need to know about some of these rhinos. They'll come out and they'll try to save face with these Democrats. So here's where she says it. She says, the bill maybe started out as good. No. I bet they're intentionally coming out there, the Democrats. Now, I don't know for sure, but I'm willing to bet that they probably come out and just openly admit that they are trying to change this for non-citizens, that this name-changing thing to try to help protect them from Trump's mass deportation policies. They're that bold, okay? Now, for rhinos or Republicans to sit there and say, I'm sure this started out, good, like it was your intention to be good. Oh, give me a break. No, come on. These Democrats, they did it intentionally. They want to change this law intentionally because they do not believe that we should be following federal immigration law. Okay, so to give them the benefit of the doubt or to say, oh, this bill probably started out as good and it could potentially help people who are here as non-citizens, especially non-citizens who were caught in my county with almost 6-7 pounds of fentanyl, which is enough to kill half of Chicago, which is not insignificant. Okay, so she goes back into her quote and she, says it probably started out as a good bill to help people here who are non-citizens. But, the non-citizens in my county who are caught with 6-7 pounds of fentanyl, which is enough to kill half of Chicago, that's not insignificant, and that's not something that we should ignore, and we shouldn't be harboring these people, especially if they're bringing in things like 6 to 7 pounds of fentanyl. So I really hate when Republicans do that, when they soften the blow here by saying, I think your intentions were good in the first place. No. You should never, ever, as a Republican, say, this is the intent of this bill is good. Because I'm telling you right now, if it's introduced by a Democrat, it's probably not good, the intent. Okay, the intent here is to harbor illegals and hide illegals from mass deportations carried out by the federal government. So you're skirting federal immigration laws. That is not good intent, okay? And to kind of soften the blow here is really, really annoying, especially when something like that happened in your community. Morris, I know Morris very well from the area. 6 to 7 pounds of fentanyl caught, a non-citizen there. Oh, whoa. I mean, come on, that's insane. And like she said, that's enough to kill half of Chicago. Now, I always say this, the amount of fentanyl that was in George Floyd's system, which ultimately killed him, by the way, he didn't die of asphyxiation, strangulation, or nothing like that. The autopsy says that he pretty much died of fentanyl overdose, okay? The tip of my pen here, right? You see that little tiny tip? That's how much fentanyl was in his system, and that's 3 times the amount of what could kill you. I mean, this stuff is really, really dangerous, and to have 6 or 7 pounds of that on you as a non-citizen, whoa, like you're like actually intending, like if you're bringing that amount of fentanyl over the border, like that's so bad. I'm sure you or somebody you know knows somebody, or fentanyl has touched your life in a personal way at some point. So the sponsor of the bill, Ram Villavalam, said 24 other states have similar legislation in place. See, and that is always like this appeal to authority, I guess, and it's an illogical argument, right? Oh, because this state's doing it, we should do it. I hate that whole like argument made by legislators like, oh, just because this state does it, we should do it here. No, maybe in other states they don't have illegal immigrants bringing over 7 pounds of fentanyl. Woo! Hey, good morning. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single morning. I want to get to this. Tom Homan talking about mayors he's going to prosecute. Yes, he's doubling down and he vows to prosecute mayors intentionally harboring illegal aliens. Now, before I took the break, I was telling you a little bit about Illinois and how we kind of have gotten crafty with harboring illegals, okay? And we're going to try to do it via legislatively. So there's a new measure in Illinois, and it would alter Illinois laws that currently exist, and it would kind of pull back the requirements for a person to change their name here in this state. Now, me being a little bit more liberty-minded and pro eliminating government intervention when it comes to things like changing your name, I'm shocked that I'm not for this, but there is a loophole in this law that makes it easier for illegal immigrants to change their name and to hide from Trump's mass deportation policies. And it was intended. I don't care what the Democrats say. This is intentional. In fact, they probably are coming out and saying it out loud with their mouths because that's how bold these people are, that they created the law for these non-citizens to evade deportation and to hide from Donald Trump and his mass deportation policies. Okay, I'd imagine that the Democrats, the Illinois Democrats, probably would just come out and say it with their mouths that yes, we're doing it with this piece of legislation. But you know, you've got the state senator who brought this legislation, the bill sponsor. He goes, "Oh, well, 24 other states have similar legislation in place." Okay, those other states, most likely, these 24 other states that have a bill, similar bill where it, or similar law where it, there's essentially no requirements to change your name in that state. We're not looking at sanctuary states. We're not looking at states that have illegal immigrants coming over in droves because we've given ourselves the sanctuary state and the sanctuary city status. Chicago, they're not having, so actually the senator Sue Resin, she talked about how in her county there was a non-citizen who brought over 7 pounds of fentanyl, which is enough to kill half of Chicago, by the way. For scale, the tip of my like ballpoint pen here, that was as much fentanyl that was in George Floyd's system when he died of a fentanyl overdose. Okay, so that's 3 times the amount of what you should be having in your system. If you're, you know, pain management hospitals, I think they still do give fentanyl as pain management, but you can't give more than that, more than the ballpoint pen size. He had three times the amount. So fentanyl is very, very dangerous. I don't know what these other states look like. I haven't combed through them, but Illinois is a different animal. Right. We've got sanctuary state status. We've got illegals here by the thousands. OK, they're bringing over fentanyl. So making it easier for them to change their name and hide from mass deportations and deportation policy. That's not something we should be doing. OK, we should not be making it easier for these folks to evade the authorities. Now, Tom Homan, he says that he's going to prosecute mayors who harbor illegals. Why? Because it's a felony to do so. Take a listen.
Your deportation plan is going to start in a big way in Chicago. And you said the governor and the mayor can either help you or get out of the way. But you also said if he meaning the mayor, if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors or conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him. So you will not only go after the illegal migrants, you may go after some mayors who aren't helping.
If they step over that line, they can sit back and watch us, which I find incredible. You don't want to take public safety threats out of your community and help us. But there are laws on the books that we will prosecute. It's 18 U.S.C. 111, impeding a federal law enforcement officer is a felony. Title 8 United States Code 1324 III. If you knowingly conceal or harbor an illegal alien from ICE, that is a felony. When I was an agent a long time ago, I've arrested U.S. citizens for harboring an alien in their home or place of employment. If I get
there you go. That's Tom Homan. Our new borders are woohoo. Like I said, it shouldn't be a controversial take. These people have broken federal immigration laws, and if you're trying to enshrine into law a way to harbor illegals, that's a felony. So this whole bill is, to be honest with you, a crafty way of breaking federal immigration law and harboring illegals. It's illegal to do that. It's a felony. He just cited the law, right? If you don't like it, then change it. But it's a crime for American citizens to harbor illegal aliens. The same should be true for mayors and governors, Governor J.B. Pritzker, in cities. And it's unfathomable as to why the left gets away with breaking federal immigration law under this whole guise that it's no human is illegal and we're the compassionate ones. It's appalling that this happens in this country. So places like San Diego, City of Los Angeles, Chicago, they prove how much they despise American citizens. They've promised to put foreign nationals over their needs over before legal citizens and legal residents of those areas, and they have turned their cities and their counties into illegal safe havens. Okay, so the Board of San Diego supervisors, I talked about this story, voted 3-1. There was one dissenting vote, and they made their county, San Diego County, what's called a super sanctuary county, and they're shielding illegals from deportation, and they're preventing the police, by threat of punishment, by the way, from notifying ICE about dangerous illegals in their custody. Okay, so we've got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to wrap up this story. I've got so much to get to this morning. I do also want to get to Scott Jennings dropping this truth bomb about Caitlyn Clark. I don't watch the WNBA, but apparently Caitlyn Clark is a good player, but she went woke. She went woke, and Scott Jennings offers her a bit of advice. He says, hey, Caitlyn Clark, you shouldn't be going woke because guess what? The woke mob, it'll never be enough for them. They're going to want you to continue to be woker and woker and woker, and it'll never be enough because they're constantly moving that goalpost. All right, I will be right back. You're listening to Conservative Cat. Find me on YouTube. Find me on Rumble. We'll be right back with more news next. Yeah, rhinos reaching across the aisle, never good, never good. And you'll hear it all of the time in the State House with these state legislators and the state senators. What they'll do is they'll say, hey, I appreciate the bill. I think you tried to have some good intent here and you tried to do some good with this bill, but there's a loophole in it. Now, that's just disingenuous. As a Republican, you should know by now that anything that's introduced by a Democrat, there is ill intent. Likely, it's more likely than not, and especially something like this where you have government or the Democrat leadership, Governor J.B. Pritzker, out there saying that he wants to evade mass deportation policy and he wants to harbor illegal aliens. It's not far-fetched to say, hey, they intended for this bill to have a loophole. In fact, I'd have to do some digging, but I guarantee you the person who introduced this would probably just outright say it. Yeah, we crafted this to make it easier for non-citizens to hide from mass deportation because no human is illegal, and they're just that bold that they'll come out and they'll say, yeah, we're skirting federal immigration law with this, and we're trying to make it easier to break federal immigration law with this. That's where we're at with the Democrats. So to sit there and say like, oh, I'm sure it was well-intended, like totally disingenuous, and I hate when Republicans do that. So we're going to be right back. Smash that like button. We're going to be talking a little bit about Tom Homan and his promises. I love how he says that he's going to start in Chicago. That's exciting. That's probably where a lot of this needs to, because it's the gangs, it's the drug trafficking, gun trafficking, things that go on in Chicago. That really needs to be addressed because we are a hub, right? I think Chicago being in the middle of the country, Midwest, it makes it easier to traffic drugs and guns. And I think that if you start in Chicago, we're going to end things like, I don't know, people trafficking 7 pounds of fentanyl over the border and distributing it out to the rest of America from Chicago. So it's very irritating when you have the left taking issue with prosecuting people who should not even be here. And, they'll try to deceive the masses here. You're going to have the media working full steam ahead to try to deceive the masses. And they're going to try to say that, this administration, the Trump administration, the mass deportation policies don't just extend to illegal immigrants. They're actually going to deport me and you, Americans, legal citizens of this country, or legal immigrants of this country. And that is not at all what they're doing. They're deporting people who have crossed the border illegally and are here illegally and have, either jet skied. Now I've watched this in San Diego specifically. They'll jet ski or they'll take a boat up to the border or the water here. They'll get out of the boat, abandon the boat completely, hop over the border and take refuge in one of the sanctuary counties, which is San Diego. They'll take a jet ski all the way up there and just hop out and leave the jet ski, leave the boat. And they're here illegally. We're talking about those people. We're talking about the people also who carry in 7 pounds of fentanyl, enough to kill half of Chicago. Talked about those people. But, people on CNN, they're going to say, it's they're going to deport people who have legal status, like a green card or a work visa, or are naturalized citizens, which is just complete bogus. It's a bogus lie, and they're trying to gaslight you and deceive the masses into thinking that, to scare you and to remove your support, because everybody supports Donald Trump. I mean, the majority of people support Donald Trump in deportation policy. Okay, they voted him in to carry this out. But they're trying to deceive the masses. They're going to try to say that the administration deported citizens, right? I can see it now. And they're trying to pull away at the support of Donald Trump and deportation policies. And they do that with these lies, CNN. So it's insane. They actually don't have a logical reason to be mad about deporting illegal aliens, because the logical reason to deport them is because, hey, it's against the law. You have to deport them if they broke the federal immigration law. Okay. They have no logical reason. The logical reason would be, the only reason would be, hey, it's not illegal for illegal aliens to hop over the border, and we're deporting them anyway, despite it not being illegal. But it is illegal to do that. So they have no logical reason to be mad about deporting illegal aliens, which is why they gaslight and lie to the public. And they try to say that Trump is out to get the legal immigrants, the people who come here and do the work to actually become legal and have legal status. So you're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Go ahead and share this out with your friends. Let's talk a little bit about San Diego. Here we go. Woo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk Bloomington Normal. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day. Before we took a break, I was telling you a little bit about San Diego and the county board of supervisors. Now, it was a 3-1 vote, one person voting no to turn the county into a super sanctuary county. Now, I talked about this a lot on Friday, what a super sanctuary county is. Basically, they're shielding illegals from mass deportation. They're preventing the police via punishment. They'll say, hey, the police, if you do this, if you try to notify ICE about these dangerous illegals in our custody, if you notify ICE, you're going to be punished. So it takes it a step further than just sanctuary state or sanctuary county or sanctuary city. The super sanctuary status is really, really concerning. Let's take a listen. Here we go. This is the Board of Supervisors meeting that was held December 10th.
I think this policy bill goes beyond California's existing sanctuary laws by adding an additional layer of bureaucracy that hinders local law enforcement from directly notifying ICE about illegal immigrants who are currently in our jails, and they have committed heinous crimes, including child abuse or endangerment, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, but only if this conviction is for a felony, possession of an unlawful deadly weapon, gang-related offenses, a crime resulting in death or involving personal affliction or great bodily injury, possession or use of a firearm in the commission of an offense, torture, rape, and kidnapping. That's the population we're talking about. So under this policy, and if a legal immigrant commits one of these serious crimes, San Diego County would be legally prohibited from directly coordinating with ICE. This effectively protects the offenders from deportation, allowing them to remain in our communities where they could cause that same harm again.
All right. So, you know, what's super irritating about the left here is that they take issue with prosecuting people who shouldn't be here. They broke federal immigration law, but they take issue with it in such a way that deceives the masses, and they try to gaslight the masses into thinking that the Trump administration is shipping off American citizens and he's going after legal immigrants, which is just not true. People who work to obtain a legal status, a work visa, a student visa. He's not going after those types of people. Take a listen to this woman on CNN. Here we go.
I might be deported because I'm a naturalized citizen. And Stephen Miller, who is Donald Trump's deputy chief of staff, has said that they're going to embark on a denaturalization program. So I could be deported, my citizenship could be taken away, and my children could be deported because they have birthright citizenship. So this is not what the country voted for. Let's be very clear. Americans voted for Trump because of groceries, because of lowering costs. He has not talked about that one bit. What this country did not vote for is to deport the 11 million undocumented immigrants who do critical work for our economy, who have injected $7 trillion into our economy. And what Americans want is a solution to immigration. They want expanded legal pathways, and they do want more stronger, smart border security, which is exactly what Democrats are talking about. And Democrats have always been the ones willing to work with Republicans on a solution, and it's been Republicans that have always pulled the rug from under our feet.
No. They come up with these insane takes, folks, because they don't actually have a logical reason to be mad about the deporting of illegal aliens. And that's why they gaslight. That's why they lie to the public, about, hey, we're going to deport legal immigrants, or Trump's going to deport legal immigrants. That's not at all what he's talking about. That denaturalization program she's talking about is not the denaturalizing of naturalized citizens who went through the process and became naturalized. What he was talking about was birthright citizenship, getting rid of that because it's dangerous. Okay, people come here to have anchor babies, and he wants to get rid of that. You can't just have people coming here to have babies and have their babies be U.S. citizens. It's really messed up, and it causes a lot of problems. And he's looking at, fixing and correcting that issue. He's not looking at denaturalizing citizens who went through this naturalization process and probably know more about civics and United States government than I do. Naturalized citizens, immigrants, not this woman, but most naturalized citizens or naturalized immigrants, people who went through that process, they probably know more about the USA, and they love the USA And it's a deranged lie. It's a slap in the face to Americans everywhere. They mock your intelligence into oblivion, these people on CNN. And that being said, the only ones who lack intelligence are the ones taking issue with deporting illegal immigrants, foreign nationals who should not be here. Okay, they broke federal immigration law. If you don't like it, change the federal law. Okay, the election and the polls proved how unpopular it is with Americans to harbor illegals. The people don't like the sanctuary state statuses. People don't like the sanctuary counties or the sanctuary cities. Americans, they don't like illegal immigration. Okay, there's poll after poll after poll that says they voted for Donald Trump because of the immigration issue and because of the illegal immigrant crisis. So they want you to think, or they think you're as dumb as they are. And they're going to double down, and this administration is going to double down alongside them, and they are going to say, okay, you want to act like that? We're going to prosecute you. We're going to tell you, we're going to just, we're going to prosecute you for the crime of harboring illegal immigrants. So good on Tom Homan. I do have to take a quick break here, but I do want to talk about Caitlyn Clark. This is a story that's come out. She's talking about how she's benefited from white privilege in the WNBA. Now, I don't know about you. I don't watch the WNBA. I don't think anybody really does. I've never met anybody who actually watches the WNBA unironically. Okay, some people watch it for a good laugh. Yeah, and I'm not, these women who are in the WNBA, I'm not a basketball player, right? And I'm, impressed with their ability as women to play in the sport. However, it doesn't make any money. It's a failed business model. And nobody really watches the WNBA, okay? These are facts, okay? Doesn't mean I don't respect women who play sports. It's the business sucks. The business model sucks. Nobody watches it. And any other business like that, it wouldn't be on television, okay? If nobody watches your show, you wouldn't be on television. But this thing stays around. The WNBA stays around because of racism. They'll accuse you of racism if you take down the WNBA, or if they'll accuse you of sexism, right? And 60% of the players in the WNBA are Black. Now, Caitlyn Clark, she is white, and she's a rookie, and I guess that she's a really great player. And she's being bullied by her fellow players. And, I find this hilarious. I really do, because she's going to get out there, Caitlyn Clark, and she's going to say, I do have white privilege. I'm so sorry that I have this white privilege. And it's never going to be enough for the woke mom. I feel bad for this woman, honestly. She says that she benefited from white privilege, and that's why she's, so good. No, you're good because you have talent and because you're a good player, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. You have nothing to apologize for. You shouldn't apologize for your skin color. Okay, it's just wild to me. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about Caitlyn Clark. I've got so much to get to today. President Donald Trump calls for mysterious drones across the country to be shot down if the U.S. government truly has no knowledge of them, right? If they have no knowledge of them, and they're saying that these drones are not a threat to national security. Okay, if that's the case, then shoot them down. Do it. I love what Donald Trump says here. Okay, if you truly have no knowledge of them, then shoot them down. What's the big deal? Shoot them down. So we're going to get to all of that here on Conservative Cat. Find me on YouTube, find me on Rumble, and subscribe to the channel today. We'll be right back. Hey, good morning. Go ahead and smash that like button. Dems don't even know what women are, and only allow fraud voting funded by Woohoo 19. I'll have to look that up, but yeah, fraudulent voting. Yeah, Democrats don't know what women are. So to sit here and say that, we need to keep the WNBA. Nobody watches the WNBA, okay, first of all. And Scott Jennings, he's going to talk about that in this clip that I'm going to play here, and he has a message for Caitlyn Clark, who's apologized for her skin color, and she has nothing to apologize for because you can't change the color of your skin. You can only control the content of your character, and really, sports it's the great equalizer. Okay, it doesn't matter. Caitlyn Clark, if she shoots a 3-pointer, it's going to be a 3 points. Okay, just because she's white doesn't mean that it's 2 points or 1 point or 4 points. It's the great equalizer. Sports are. So her fellow players don't appreciate how much attention this rookie is getting. Now, like I said, 60% of players in the WNBA are black. They don't like that she's a straight white woman. Okay, she's a straight white woman and she's good, and she's faced a lot of backlash from the woke mob, or a lot of but she has come out and she's apologized for her whiteness. Okay, and it's really bizarre that she came out to do that. I just think that this is all silly. Nobody even watches this stuff. So I'll be right back. Smash that like button. I'm going to take a quick break. You're listening to Conservative Cat. Woo! Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Yes, we are going to get to the drones because President-elect Donald Trump, he came out. I like to call him President Trump. President Trump, okay. He weighed in on reports of these drone sightings that have been reported across the United States, and he's calling for them to be shot down if the government truly has no knowledge of them. So the government's come out and said, you know, there's no evidence at this time that this is posing a threat to national security, yada, yada, yada. There's no public safety threat. okay, if that's the case, then shoot them down. Okay. Let the public know. And now he says, this really can't be happening without our government's knowledge. Mystery drone sightings all over the country. I don't think so. Let the public know, and now otherwise shoot them down. Okay, so if there's actually, if you have no knowledge that this is, just people, they're actually trying to get you and I to believe that these drone sightings are just random people flying these aircraft, the drones. Okay. If they expect us to believe that, okay, then just shoot them down. Do it. Why are the law enforcement agencies and these other agencies, they're not shooting them down? So good on Donald Trump. He tweeted that out. We're going to get to that story here in just a little bit, but I do want to talk about Scott Jennings and the WNBA, Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark, she has recently benefited from white privilege, at least according to her. She goes, "That's why I'm such a great player. It's because I'm white and straight." Really weird. It's bizarre because 60% of the players in the WNBA are Black. And I guess because she's white, she's better than all of them. That's what she says, and she acknowledges her white privilege. So ridiculous. Her fellow players are not appreciative of the fact that she's getting attention as a rookie because she's good. Okay. Nobody is benefiting from white privilege. Okay. She has faced some backlash from the unwoke mob, like Scott Jennings, who's a part of the unwoke mob. And he says, look, no matter how much you say my truth or your white privilege or whatever it is, it's never going to be enough for the woke mob. You need to stop apologizing. That's what Scott Jennings here says in this clip. Let's take a listen. Here we go.
Why is she being bullied?
Why is that wrong?
Why is she being bullied for acknowledging something that's smart, truth, and factual?
Well, a couple things. Number one, whether you're an athlete or anyone else, if I hear you use the phrase "my truth," I immediately then discount everything else you say, because there isn't my truth or your truth. There's just the truth. And when you start using phrases like that, it tells me that
That's not true.
Your brain has been captured by something that I don't really respect.
That's not true.
Number two.
That's not true.
Number two, the attention the league got this year was amazing, and it was all because of her. She is an amazing player. The arenas were full when she played in them. The TV ratings were up when she was on television. That's undeniable. But the league still lost like $40 million this year. And it's never made money. And to me, when you're talking about having respecting people who built something, what did they build? A league that loses money every year? She has the capacity.
What do you mean?
To
What did they build? What do you mean? What did they build?
What kind of a business did they build?
The reason why it's still up and still running, whether it's losing money or not, is because of these Black women who are in this.
Isn't it because
And
of the
so,
investors?
no, Scott, stop it. You stop it now.
It's not. I was in Vicky's arena.
Who pays for it?
I was in Vicky's arena. Let me just tell you.
It says more about the people who are getting offended by it.
All right. So that was Scott Jennings. I'm going to be right back. We're going to talk more about this. She apologized to her fellow players for simply being white, Caitlyn Clark. And she, said all of the woke platitudes, my truth, white privilege. And she's apologizing for her sexual preference, too, because she's straight. The mob is never, they're going to demand more of her. She's never going to appease the woke mob. I'll be right back. You're listening to Conservative Cat, Cities 92.9. Smash that like button on YouTube and on Rumble. We're going to come back with more news ahead next. So we're going to continue that clip here at the top of the hour for our radio friends, but she's despised by her fellow players. Okay, they're bullying her and trying to get her to apologize for her whiteness and for her straightness, which is just ridiculous. She's been bullied by her fellow players because they don't like the attention she's getting. Okay, let's boil this down to what it really is. These people are jealous of her. These other women in the league, in the WNBA, they're jealous because she's a better player. And instead of, working harder to become just as talented, they've decided to go after things that she can't change about herself, which is, her skin color. Okay, this is an insignificant birth trait. She can't change it. And they've decided to go after her sexual preference, okay, her straightness. Okay, so given that she clearly has not benefited from white privilege, she clearly has not benefited from white privilege. She's facing backlash from her fellow players, and the unwoke mob. Scott Jennings has come out and said, "Hey, we have a message for you. Stop bending the knee. Do it. Stop bending the knee to the woke this woke mob, because it's never going to be enough. Not only are they going to come after you for your white privilege, they're going to come after you for your sexual preferences. They're going to come after you for if you have a family, right? Or if she ever becomes a mother. It'll never be enough for them, no matter how much you apologize." So, yeah, it's kind of really sad. She gets more views as a rookie than most people have in their entire basketball careers, and that's why they're upset about it. And she keeps apologizing for not having a certain sexual preference, for not being a lesbian, like Brittany Griner, right? She's got nothing to apologize for. Now, I'm going to get to this tweet, too, of Riley Gaines here. Let me actually share this with you. This is a tweet from Riley Gaines. I want to get to this tweet. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay. So Riley Gaines, she says, saying Caitlyn Clark's race and sexuality makes her problematic. What? So this was, I guess, an article, an opinion piece that was written about Caitlyn Clark. Jamel Hill, I'm assuming, is a WNBA player, I think. I don't know. I don't watch the WNBA. Most people don't. But here we go. I'll just share the tweet with you. Here we go. Here it is. Jamel Hill goes off the rails on Caitlyn Clark. So she was cited in an article, I think. So she says, "We would all be very naive if we didn't say race and her sexuality played a role in her popularity. While so many people are happy for Caitlyn's success, including the players." Okay, don't think so. Let's see here. I want to see who this Jamel Hill is. I honestly don't know. Oh, journalist. She's a sports journalist. Okay. This is what she said. She says, "This has had such an enormous impact on the game. There is a part of that that's very problematic because of what it says about the worth and marketability of players who are already there." So players, the black players, 60% black, like I said, it's not marketable, right, to be black. This is what she's implying here. Yes, the fact that Caitlyn Clark is straight and white is apparently a major problem for the WNBA, in Hill's opinion. She didn't stop there. The former ESPN talent, so she's a former ESPN talent, that's Jamel Hill. She says that the reason why Clark is more famous than other players in the league, despite being a rookie and having people having an issue with it. So she's more famous because of her sexual preference and her whiteness, and that's problematic. Okay, so absolutely ridiculous. Riley Gaines, she says, "Clark isn't a problem, she's the solution. Being a long-standing professional race baiter must be so exhausting." Yeah, so she's a race baiter, this Jamel Hill, sports journalist or whatever. Yeah, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, she's a good player. Whatever happened to, I don't know, applauding excellence? Okay, and like Scott Jennings says, sports is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter how many points you get if you're black or white. It's the same amount of points, and it's the great equalizer. And the content of your skin does not. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Are you talented as a ball player, as a basketball player? So while she would love to appease the left, that's never going to happen. It's the last thing that she should be doing, Caitlyn Clark. These people who are mad at her will never harm her ratings. If she just goes out there and says, look, I'm a talented player, and if you don't like it, it's probably because you're not as talented as I am. Really, that's what she needs to come out and say. And that's not going to hurt her ratings. It's not going to hurt her as a player, because these people won't harm her ratings. In fact, she probably would get more popular if she came out and said that, to be honest with you. You go woke, you go broke. And yeah, her ratings are solely based on the talent. Okay, and that's exactly why these people despise her, because they often hate merit, they hate talent, they hate, well, a work ethic, and they make everything about skin color. Woohoo! Hey, good morning. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk Bloomington Normal. So I do appreciate you tuning in. Now, I wanted to ask you a question. Today's question of the day. I'll read your answers on the other side. Holiday travel time. It's right around the corner. What's your go-to drink order on the plane? Do you drink on the plane? Do you drink before you get on the plane? If you're like me, you need a drink before you get on the plane. What do you order on planes? What's your drink order on planes? Kind of dense fog this morning, so be careful. It's 51 degrees. It's kind of warm outside today, which is awesome. We're talking a little bit about Scott Jennings. I want to play this clip one more time. This is Scott Jennings on CNN. He's talking about Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark is a white, straight WNBA player who's really good. She's a rookie, and she's getting a lot of attention, and her fellow players don't like that. Why? Because they're probably jealous of her, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. I think it's all about jealousy. They don't like that she's a talented player, so they've gone after her skin color. They're saying that it's dangerous. I was just talking about the Riley Gaines tweet. She tweeted this out. Jamel Hill, which is a race baiter. She's a ESPN talent, or former ESPN talent. She's a sports journalist. This is what she says, quote, Jamel Hill, we would all be very naive if we didn't say race and her sexuality played a role in her popularity. While so many people are happy for Caitlyn's success, including the players, not true. They're all upset about it. This has had such an enormous impact on the game. There is a part of it that is problematic because what it says about the worth and marketability of the players who are already there. Wow. So they're talking about Clark's insane draw. So there's a draw to Caitlyn Clark in the WNBA, which is much needed, okay? Because the WNBA, like Scott Jennings says in this piece, in this clip, he talks about how they lose money constantly. Now, I don't know about you. Any business that loses money, I don't know who's paying for it, but any business that loses money, it's not building anything. It's not doing anything. So I don't even know why it exists, to be honest with you. But take a listen. Here we go.
Why is she being bullied?
Why is that wrong?
Why is she being bullied for acknowledging something that's smart, truth, and factual?
Well, a couple things.
Number one, nobody's bullying her. Okay, she's trying to say here on CNN that people like Scott Jennings, conservatives, are bullying Caitlyn Clark because Caitlyn Clark came out and she apologized for her whiteness and for her straightness. Okay, because she recognized that that's probably why her white privilege has gotten her to a place of popularity and a place where people really want to watch her. No, it has nothing to do with that. People on the right or conservatives will say, no, it's because of her talent. She's actually better than all of these other players. That's why people want to watch her, because she's good. But take a listen here.
Whether you're an athlete or anyone else, if I hear you use the phrase "my truth," I immediately then discount everything else you say, because there isn't my truth or your truth. There's just the truth. And when you start using phrases like that, it tells me that
that's not true.
Your brain has been kept.
Whenever somebody says my truth, speak your truth, or live your truth, live your authentic self, you should run away from those people, because those people are probably a part of a cult. I'm going to be honest with you. And that's what this is. It's a woke cult. And Caitlyn Clark, she said, my truth, or, I'm just being my true self, or whatever. I don't know exactly what her comments were, but that should scare you, because anybody who says my truth is not a stable person, because there's only one truth. You don't have truth. I don't have truth. There's the truth, and we should seek the truth. It's not my own truth, your own truth. There's one truth out there, and that's what Scott Jennings is talking about. You should just totally disregard everything those people say if they're using phrases like my truth, my authentic self. There's something wrong with those people.
Captured by something that I don't really respect.
That's not true.
Number two.
That's not true.
Number two, the attention the league got this year was amazing, and it was all because of her. She is an amazing player. The arenas were full when she played in them. The TV ratings were up when she was on television. That's undeniable. But the league still lost like $40 million this year. And it's never made money. And to me, when you're talking about having respecting people who built something, what did they build? A league that loses money every year? She has the capacity.
What do you mean?
to
What did they
possibly-
build? What do you mean? What did they build?
What kind of a business did they build?
The reason why it's still up and still running, whether it's losing money or not, is because of these black women who are in this.
Isn't it because
And
of the
so,
investors?
no,
No,
Scott, stop it. You stop it
it's
now.
not.
You
It's not. I
stop it.
I was in Dickies
Who
arena.
pays for it?
I was in Dickies
stop it.
arena. Let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. I was.
It says more about the people who are getting offended by it
Yeah.
than
That's what I just-
her.
I think they're just disappointed that she appears to have been captured by the woke mob.
You don't like
She
the
was
way.
like,
And here's the
Hold on one
disappointment.
second.
And here's
I
the
think
disappointment.
it's the white privilege.
Hold on one
Let him
second.
articulate this because I want to learn something.
I feel a little bad for her because she's going to learn that it will never be enough. No matter how much of the phrasing, no matter how much of the groveling you do, it will never be enough for the people in that league that hate her guts. It
Why
will
do
never
you
satisfy.
assume
They hate her
that
guts.
why do
Yes,
you
they do.
assume
They
that
do
she
not.
is trying to pander? Isn't it
Because
also
I hear the
Scott-
language. It's the
Scott,
language of the pander.
Scott,
I
listen.
hear the phrase white privilege. Sports is the one place where nobody on the field has any privilege at all. She doesn't get extra points when she shoots because she's white. She gets the same number of points as anybody else. Sports is the great equalizer. And it just felt like to a lot of people that she was groveling for no reason because she is an amazing player who deserves all the accolades she's getting right now for doing what she's doing for women's basketball.
All right, we got.
Yeah, she deserves all the accolades because she's getting eyeballs on the TV to go watch this thing that traditionally people don't watch. Like Scott Jennings says, these woke platitudes, she can repeat them as much as she wants. My truth. She can apologize for her sexual preferences. She's straight. It's never going to be enough for the mob. The mob is having a fit because she gets more views as a rookie than most people have had in their entire basketball careers. And really, it's not because of her skin color and her sexual preference. It's because she's good, right? So it's never enough for these people, the woke mob. And Scott says he feels bad for her. I feel bad for her. The content of her, skin has nothing to do with her character and how talented she is. And she believes that her talent is it doesn't mean anything, and it's all about her skin color, which is really sad because I'm sure she's worked hard at the game. So while she would love to appease the left, that is the last thing she should do because it's not achievable. These people mad at her will not harm her ratings. If she just comes out and says, look, you can hate me because of how much ratings I get. You can hate me because, of how talented I am. But I'm telling you right now, the reason why people are watching me is because I've worked hard at the game. It's not because of my skin color or my sexual preferences. Like, who turns on the TV and says, yeah, I want to watch that girl because she's white, or yeah, I want to watch that girl because she's straight? Nobody says that. People watch basketball to watch the game and watch people play good and play well. Watch people play. So I do want to talk about Neil deGrasse Tyson. He goes on this rant and he talks about how you need to blindly trust the experts. Otherwise, you're going to die. Yes, you need to blindly trust the experts. Otherwise, you're going to die. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson. We're also going to talk about these drone vigilantes. Okay, so the government is trying to tell you that they're drone vigilantes. So people just randomly flying drones. I'm not buying it. Trump's not buying it. Chris Christie issued a warning. He's the governor of New Jersey. So we're going to talk about that. And he's slamming the federal government's response. But first, let's get to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I want to get to the story first. During the pandemic, phrases like follow the science, trust the experts, those were coined and demanded by bureaucrats like Tony Fauci, right? And those phrases, they used those to get you to follow everything like the 6 feet social distancing, the masking, and follow everyone blindly. Okay, you just do this, you follow it, and you follow it blindly, even though it's wrong. The 6 feet distancing, we know there was no actual science to back that up. We know that the masking, there was no actual science to back that up. So we are going to talk a little bit about that when we come back. Actually, I'll get to the clip. I'm going to get to the clip. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he has no shortage of asinine takes this year in these last couple of days. I actually know he had this take about, women and men in sports. He thinks that women and men in sports, like, it shouldn't be divvied up by women and men. Like, there shouldn't be a women's league and a men's league, that you should just classify it all based on race. And that's a far better way to divide people in sports than sex. And he doesn't believe that men have biological advantages over women when it comes to sports, although we've understood that and accepted that for all of human history, right? But he's out there now and he's saying that the experts are like God. And if you don't blindly follow everything they say and everything that they do, that you're going to literally die. This is quite literally what he said. He has no shortage of bad takes, this Neil deGrasse Tyson. Let's take a listen. Here we go.
It's not just always renewed engagement. It's also being paired with a growing distrust of people like you who do what you do for a living, who back things up with data and facts and science. People don't always trust it if it doesn't confirm, their suspicions of something.
Yeah, this is a problem going forward. It's the loss of people's trust in experts. I mean, let's put it just out there in that way. And that's odd, because if something happens to the plumbing in your house, are you going to say, I'll fix it? Or do you call an expert, right? Just ask yourself all the ways that you've engaged experts in your life. And then all of a sudden you have access to the internet and you say, well, I'm not going to trust experts. I'm going to trust my own research. That could have ultimately lethal consequences if you're making decisions that affect your health and well-being.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I always trust the plumbers on that. I'm never trying to do anything myself. It's not.
Yeah, I would imagine you would never. Now, that was, of course, on CNN. That was Neil deGrasse Tyson warning CNN viewers that if they refuse to trust the so-called experts, you're putting your life at risk. He says doing your own research could have, quote, ultimately lethal consequences if you're making decisions that affect your health and well-being. This is a problem going forward. It's a loss of people's trust in experts. Ironically, this clip actually came after, we found out that we know that the government's lying to us about the drones. Okay. He's demanding you stop questioning and you just blindly trust the experts. And he did this just moments after our segment about the government possibly lying about these drones. And they say that they don't know anything about these drones. So, okay, then shoot them down, do it. If you truly don't know anything about these drones and if they're actually not a national security risk, then you should just get them out of the sky. But I wanted to talk about Neil deGrasse Tyson here. He talks about changing or trusting the experts, and this is just a logical fallacy. Okay, this is nothing more than appeal to authority, and it's like the logical, or it's the illogical equivalent of saying, I buy this toothpaste because the experts say it's best. That's not an argument. It's not based in truth. It's not based in logic. There's no reason to actually buy the toothpaste. You're just saying that you buy the toothpaste because the experts tell you to buy it. That's stupid. And it's a lot. Trusting the experts is an appeal to authority argument, and it's dumb. The man claims that you should trust him, and at the expense of the truth, too. Okay, it doesn't matter if they're lying to you, that you should trust him anyway, without doing your own fact finding and data analysis. And I can't remember the last time this guy has done any kind of data or facts. He's clearly ideology, like his ideology dictates what he says. Okay, to sit there and say that men don't have a biological advantage over women, that is not a sentiment that is backed by data and facts, and a long standing understanding that men have a biological advantage over women when it comes to, sports and running, and they can run faster. I mean, all of the data says this. So he is a part of a cult. I'm just going to be honest with you. He is a part of an ideological cult. If you sit there and you say that men do not have a biological advantage over women when it comes to things like sports, you are delusional. Okay. Second, it not only is it a logical fallacy, but it's also his comparison is absolutely stupid with the plumber thing. Now, I will say this. Whenever you call out a plumber, and I'm not saying all plumbers, I know really great plumbers, people who do good work. But I'm just going to tell you a personal story. I called out a plumber to the house, and the guy was high out of his mind. Okay. Definitely is smoking dope or whatever. Gets down there. We had already kind of done some work on it. And he goes, "Oh, looks like you guys kind of know what you're doing. I don't think you really need me." No, quite literally. That's what so they attack excellence. The left will attack excellence. They'll say you don't need to be excellent in your field, that it doesn't matter, right? And they'll just say, so the experts at this point it's all based on your skin color and your sexual preferences. The experts they want you to follow, it's based on their skin color and their sexual preferences and their ideology. That's what expert means to them, because they attack your excellence. So we just talked about Caitlyn Clark and about how they are attacking her talent and her ability as a basketball player. And they say that she isn't actually talent and she isn't actually excellent as a player. Rather, it's her white skin color that gives her the ratings and the fame and this attention that she's getting in the WNBA. So they attack excellence, but they tell you to trust the experts. But these people aren't actually experts. It's all skin color ideology and sexual preferences. And a lot of these people in these fields, even plumbing, right? They're not excellent. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to fix the plumbing in your house yourself. Be a jack of all trades. That's what I tell people. Be a jack of all trades. Learn something. You have this thing in your pocket and that it can help you be literally an expert in everything. And that's probably why a lot of us don't trust the experts a whole lot, because you can be an expert yourself. You have so much information at your disposal. Why wouldn't you use that? And why wouldn't you question people? Yeah, but this whole, snake oil salesman for a plumber, right? This analogy or this comparison is just totally ridiculous, because it's not uncommon to kind of get like this terrible salesman for a plumber in that industry. So like the comparison isn't even good, because anybody who's called a plumber understands that sometimes if you don't get a good one, that's why, any plumbers that you hear here on Cities 92.9, they're the best, right? But sometimes it's tough to find some good plumbers out there, okay? And a lot of people are out there saying, "Oh, I'm going to do it myself." The plumbing, but I think people should. I really do. I don't think that there's a ton of people out there that will say, "I'm going to do all the plumbing myself," because I despise all the experts in that industry. I think it's hard to find experts anymore in any industry. But I don't think people are out there saying, "Oh, I'm going to do it myself" when it comes to the plumbing. That's not what this is about. There's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion, and there's nothing wrong with questioning, even when you get plumbing or any kind of work or use any kind of industry. There's nothing wrong with questioning and asking questions of those experts. And to demonize that it makes absolutely no sense. I've got to take a quick break, but you're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'll be right back. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk Bloomington Normal. Cat, I always order some whiskey. I feel like that's what I need to order when I get on a plane. It's good and strong, good, strong whiskey. Yeah. I like whiskey too. Jack and Coke is my go-to drink. What's your holiday go-to drink when you get on an airplane specifically? Is there something that you order specifically? I know people who like the screwdrivers when they get on an airplane. Is there something you only order on planes? What's your drink order? 309-451-9299. That's the question of the day. Before we took the break, I was telling you a little bit about this guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's sitting there saying, oh, you need to trust the experts or you could literally die. No, quite literally. He says that if you do your own research, that could ultimately have lethal consequences if you're making decisions that affect your health and well-being. And I like how somebody texted in. They said, my dad was an old farmer, and he says you're the only expert if you're 100 miles from home. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Never forget that. Yeah, or I never forgot that. My dad was an old farmer, and he said you're only an expert if you're 100 miles from home. So, I think there's this attack on accountability the left likes to do where they tell you to trust the experts. They want you to trust the experts because they don't want you to do your own research and have accountability over your own life and autonomy over your own life. They want you to blindly trust these bureaucrats who aren't excellent in their fields. I told you the story about the plumber, the kid who showed up high. A lot of these industries, it's hard to find good help. And if you're a business owner, I mean, I hear from business owners all the time. They say it's hard to find good help. It's because there's this attack on excellence. It's no longer your excellence or your talents or your abilities that put you above everybody else. It's your sexual preference, your gender, or your skin color. We just talked about that with Caitlyn Clark. How people, are upset because she's got this attention in the WNBA, and they say that the attention is because she's white or whatever, because she's straight, and that's why people watch her, and that's absolutely ridiculous. It's actually because she's an excellent basketball player, but there's an attack on excellence. So these experts, they're not excellent. They don't know a whole lot. I'm going to be honest with you, because a lot of these experts, they're just there in that position because of their ideology and what they believe in ideologically, and then also they're there because of their gender and their race. I mean, that's what it is. That's who the experts are these days. They're not people who actually have excellent qualities or excellent abilities. Now, he was referring to, like I said, three things to take away from this clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Let me play it real quick one more time. This is CNN. He was telling viewers, hey, you could literally die if you don't listen to the experts. Take a
just always renewed engagement. It's also being paired with a growing distrust of people like you who do what you do for a living, who back things up with data and facts and science. People don't always trust it if it doesn't confirm, their suspicions of something.
Yeah, this is a problem going forward. It's the loss of people's trust in experts. I mean, let's put it just out there in that way. And that's odd, because if something happens to the plumbing in your house, are you going to say, oh, I'll fix it? Or do you call an expert, right? Just ask yourself all the ways that you've engaged experts in your life. And then all of a sudden you have access to the internet and you say, well, I'm not going to trust experts. I'm going to trust my own research. That can have ultimately lethal consequences if you're making decisions that affect your health and well-being.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I always trust the plumbers on that. I've never.
Well, and a whole nother part of this is you get a certain level of satisfaction by doing it yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't call the plumber, right, if you know nothing about plumbing, but learning about it on YouTube, we have these little things in our pockets. If we're able to figure it out on our own, what's so wrong about that? They don't want you to figure it out on your own, because then you'd have accountability over your own life and a satisfaction in your life, and they don't want you to be satisfied with your life and to do things for yourself. And then, this whole trusting the experts thing, like I said, it's a logical fallacy. It's an appeal to authority. We were taught in grade school to not use those arguments because they're not based in logic or truth or facts and data. It's kind of silly to use that argument. Number two, he uses this stupid comparison. I don't think that there's people out there who would be like, oh, no, I'm not going to call the plumber because the plumber is an expert and I don't trust the expert plumber. No. It doesn't work like that. There's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion, though. There might be a plumber who shows up to your house. Me, for example, I called the plumber. And he shows up high and he was basically like saying, oh, it looks like you kind of guys know what you're doing. You don't really need me. Okay, what? So, and sometimes, they might say something because their whole goal is to make money. And you have to kind of do your own research or get a second opinion, even when it comes to that stuff. People, it's not a distrust, I would say, in plumbers, but there is this feeling of, hey, I have to do some research on what plumber is a good one to do this job and to do it well. So thirdly, he's referring to the medical establishment, which is the most corrupt of them all. Okay, that's what he's referring to is the medical industry. And he's implying that the majority of people are trying to do their own research to try to get out of cancer. And that's just not the case. Okay. There's people who are saying, hey, what can I do to improve my life, even when it comes to cancer? Can I fast? Can I juice? Can I do all these things, which are not going to harm you in any kind of way? But I just don't think that there is a bad thing about. I don't see the harm in doing that. If you're doing your own research, and then if you choose not to consult somebody over your health, these people are the ones who always say bodily autonomy. I don't think there's anything more liberating or more American than saying, hey, I want to take control over my own life and over my own health. And these people are using their credentials to defend their ideological activism. And that's not how science works, but it is how the science works, the political science works. And, if you want us to trust you, right? If you want us to trust the experts in the medical industry, you probably shouldn't start with this whole logical fallacy that's saying, hey, you should trust us because we're the experts. You should probably provide data. You should probably provide science and how it works. But a lot of these people, they will. So, for example, we took the cat to the vet, right? We took the cat to the vet. And he got upset with us because we had researched something about the symptoms, and we had questioned him about the symptoms. And he goes, what, are you going to listen to Google or me? I'm the doctor. Right then and there, I was like, okay, I don't trust you. The moment somebody tries to tell you to not do your own research or to look up things, and to question, because that's really what science is questioning and coming up with all kinds of questions and then answering those questions. And if you don't even want the questions to be asked, that worries me, and it blatantly proves to me that you are an untrustworthy person if you don't want me to do research or to question anything. So Tyson's crying to the masses about, this experts and people, how they don't trust them anymore. It's because he's irrelevant. And that's why he's out there saying you should trust the experts. It's because he's irrelevant, and he wants to be relevant again. So that's why he wants you to trust him. All right, I do have to take a quick break, but we're going to get to Governor Chris Christie. He's slamming the federal government's response about these reported drone sightings all over the state of New Jersey. And he says states should be granted more authority to handle this situation. And I like what Donald Trump says here about the drones. Donald Trump wants to see them shoot down the drones. If there truly isn't, I think they're just lying to people. Okay, they're just lying to people. I don't buy it for 1 second that the government doesn't know what these drones are and that these are just drone vigilantes. I'm not buying that. And Trump's not buying it either. And he says, okay, prove it. Shoot them down if it's just drone vigilantes. We're going to be right back with that story here next on Conservative Cat Cities 92.9. Woo! Hey, good morning. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9 The News and Talk Bloomington Normal. You know, right before Neil deGrasse Tyson, he was sitting there saying, "No, you need to blindly trust the experts." And this was just moments after our segment had aired about the government possibly lying about these drones. So this is kind of ironic. Neil deGrasse Tyson saying, "Oh, you know, this could have lethal consequences if you're making decisions about your health and your well-being, if you know, just don't blindly trust these experts." Although these experts, they're not even people of excellence anymore. A lot of these experts are bureaucrats who have, you know, a certain gender or sexual preference or a certain skin color, right? We were talking earlier in the show about Caitlyn Clark and how they've attacked her excellence as a player and her ability as a player. And they've said that the only reason why she is where she is because she's white and straight, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I want to get to this because this is kind of shocking. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Fetso. I love the meme that's circulating out there. He's just got a ton of burgers and he's like looking up into the sky at all these drones. That's been circulating on social media. But he slammed the federal response here to the recently reported drone sightings over New Jersey. And he warned that if states aren't granted more authority to handle the situation, there will be drone vigilantes who start taking the drones down themselves. So shooting down the drones themselves. So that's what Chris Christie said. And actually, Donald Trump is out there now saying that, you know, all these mystery drone sightings, here's what he put out on Truth Social. He says, mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know and now. Otherwise, shoot them down, right? So he put that out on social media. And he weighed in on these reports of all these drone sightings across the U.S. And he called for them to be shut down. Okay, so the government came out and they issued an official response. Here is Kirby right now. Let's take a listen to this.
No, I'm telling you, Martha, I'm telling you, we don't
You don't know.
we
All right,
don't,
let
we
me
can't
ask you this.
corroborate every single sighting. Some of them we have, not all of them. And we're working hard to do that. We know people are afraid of it. We know people have concerns. We have those same concerns.
Yeah.
No, you don't, because John Kirby, prior to, you know, them coming out and saying that they're concerned and that there's no evidence that the drone sightings pose a national security threat or a public safety threat, which they do, by the way, because they're not identifying who is flying these drones or anything. So we don't know anything really. So we can't definitively say that it's not a public safety threat because these drones could have cameras, even if it is like somebody random flying the drone over people's houses. That's still a threat to public safety. Okay. They could be gathering, you know, stalking. It could be a stalker, who knows? But there's multiple of these things. And prior to them coming out and saying, oh, there is no evidence at this time that it's a threat to national security and public safety, they actually said, don't believe with your eyes what you're seeing in the sky. These drones, you know, don't look up into the sky. You're not seeing it. Your eyes are deceiving you. So they tried to gaslight people into thinking that they weren't actually seeing what they were seeing with their eyes. And now they've moved the goalpost. Now they're saying, oh, there's no reason to think that this is any kind of threat. So they have not eased the concerns of local residents as the experts and officials are still being very mysterious about this drone activity. As John Kirby here continues, you'll realize that this is all kind of shady, and it seems like they have very little authority over of how to handle this situation.
Yeah, because they're flying over your house, and it sounds like there are motorcycles landing on your roof. So let me ask you this: one, you know, person who watched this online said they think it's a Pterodynamics Transwing Drone XP4, which is being developed by the U.S. Navy as a recon and logistics drone capable of picking up and dropping off packages between land and moving ships in high seas and winds. You know, they're suggesting it's an American company. We asked the company. They said we can't speculate on the origin of the drones that are flying over New Jersey. So is that an avenue that has been inspected? You know, is this a private company that is practicing something? And what wouldn't they have to clear something with somebody to have this kind of activity?
It could very well be, as I said, these could be commercially developed drones of some kind.
Why not just take one down and figure out what's going on?
Well, the idea of taking something down again, you want to worry about public safety. First of all, we don't have enough conclusions to take that kind of a policy action. But let's just assume for a minute, Martha, that we did. I mean, you're not going to want to shoot something down where it could hit somebody's house or hurt somebody.
Well, the Coast Guard says that there are 30 of them following one of their ships in the ocean. So would that work?
I mean, again, we have to develop the policy options based on what we know we're dealing with here, and we just don't know enough to make those to take those kinds of actions. But my goodness, we're going to do everything we can to find out, and we're going to share as much as we can. I understand it's frustrating for folks.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for us. We want to know as well.
What does President Biden say about it?
He also has tasked the team to look into this and to be energetic in doing it to try to get answers.
All right, I got to take a quick break, but we're going to come right back. I don't know about you, but that was a whole lot of non-answers, and I'm sick and tired of the government lying. Right? I mean, what do you mean you can't shoot it down? It's following a ship. You can't shoot it down, get it in the ocean. You know, he says, oh, we're concerned about it hitting somebody's house. Give me a break. They're lying to us. First, they say that you're not seeing it. What you're seeing is, what you're seeing, you're not actually seeing, okay? And then they move the goalpost, and then they say, oh, actually, don't worry, it's not going to threaten you at all. There's nothing to worry about here. And that's just ridiculous. They're lying to us, and, they're lying to us that it's not a safety threat either, because we don't know any. They claim to know nothing about this. So how can you definitively say that it's not a safety threat? I'll be right back. You're listening to Conservative Cat. I mean, this is kind of shocking stuff. They say what you're seeing is not drones, that, you're mistaking the identity of these things. And then you go on Flight Radar 24, look that up, it's an app, and you see that there's no planes in the area. There's no planes. So what are these? These have to be drones. There's no planes in the area, so these have got to be drones. And they're lying to us. They're trying to say that you're not seeing what you're seeing, and then more importantly, they're lying to us and saying that it's not a safety threat. How can you definitively say that when you don't know what these are? He clearly said that he didn't know what these were. They're not even willing to take down one of these things out in the middle of the ocean. And what Joe Biden says, oh, be energetic about getting answers. Yeah. Yeah. One thing about this administration is that I know that they're not energetic. So the FFA earlier this month had said, safely integrating drones in the national airspace system is a key priority for the FAA. We look into all reports of unauthorized drone operations and investigate when appropriate. The FFA added that pilots of drones who endanger aircraft or people can face up to like $75,000 in fines. So I have a hard time believing, most people who fly drones or have drones, I have a hard time believing that there's all kinds of people out there flying these drones, like private citizens, who are flying these drones, knowing that they could face up to $75,000 in fines. They're not willing to shoot this down. I mean, if it is a citizen or citizens, because there's multiple of them, there has to be more than one person here flying these drones. In New Jersey, then if they are private citizens, then what's the problem with just kind of shooting one down to just kind of see? Because this is, according to the FFA, the policy here is that you can't endanger aircraft or endanger people. And these are flying all over people's houses. People are scared amid these drone spottings. People are worried that these are getting close to their houses. So what's the problem with taking one down that's following the U.S. Navy around, following a new U.S. Navy ship around? I'll tell you what it is. I'm telling you right now, it's probably our own government spying on us, and they are, maliciously, this is malicious activity, and they're spying on us. I wouldn't doubt it. And, they seem to not really care about getting to the bottom of this. Otherwise, they would shoot one of them down like Donald Trump had called for. Smash that like button, share this out with your friends. We're going to be right back on the Conservative Cat Show, Cities 92.9.
Second time this season, Buffalo 40-42, and the Packers won on Sunday Night Football for Seattle 30-13. Moved somewhat for the Illini. Number 1 Tennessee beat them at the buzzer 66-64 at State Farm Center Saturday. Illinois State beat SUNY 81-77 at Sunday Arena yesterday. Bulls faced the Raptors in Toronto after beating Charlotte Friday night. To the Ice Rivers, a tough weekend for the Bison, losing a pair of 2-1 games to Toledo and Fort Wayne. They face Iowa on August 12th and Friday.
Woohoo! Hey, good morning. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Before we took the break, I was playing a little bit from John Kirby. He was on Fox News being questioned about the drone sightings in New Jersey. Take a listen. Joe Biden. Yeah, people feel really unsettled. The White House has absolutely no idea what's going on. Don't trust the experts. If you want my opinion, I bet it's our own government spying on us. All right. You guys have a blessed day. Bye. Love you. Be sure to tune in tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6 a.m. We'll talk again soon. Talk to you later.